Welcome back to ESA Summer Online. We are raising money for Alzheimer Fonden. Links to donate can be found below the stream or by typing !donate into the chat. We would also like to thank Kaspersky, Twitch, and ViewSonic for sponsoring this event. Now it's time for Eddaket running Pokemon Sword and Shield. Take it away.
Thank you. Yep, as Mod said, my name's Eddaket. I'm going to do Pokemon Sword, Tower of Two Fists. This is the Isle of Armor DLC, so we're going to go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set my clock. Normally when you see somebody set their clock in a Pokemon speedrun, they're doing RNG manipulation. That is not what we're doing, but I'll explain why we're setting the clock. Set it to 11:40 p.m. Everything looks good. Great. So first thing we're going to do when we get in here is we're going to name our trainer. So I think I know the answer, but what is the trainer name?
Let me quickly refresh the site so that every last donation got in. And we will name the trainer Kizaron with $25.
All right.
For that.
This run has officially been cursed. All right. All right, so we are ready to start. So you ready for the countdown? Be 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so like I said, my name's Eddaket. I do Pokemon speedruns, mainly Sword and Shield nowadays. We're doing Tower of Two Fists, Good Ending, or also known as Get Urshifu. That's what you'll see on speedrun.com. Basically, the Isle of Armor DLC came out last month for these games. It's the first time that a main series game has had downloadable content, as opposed to like a third game or sequels or something like that. And the Isle of Armor story sort of has two parts to it. There's one part that can be done almost immediately as soon as you start up a new game. And there is one part that requires the post-game. The first part, the part that we're going to be doing, is the Tower of Two Fists, where the objective is to get the legendary Pokemon Cubfu, befriend the Cubfu, train it up, and then take on one of the two towers, either the Tower of Waters or the Tower of Darkness, and evolve our Cubfu into the legendary Pokemon Urshifu. The reason we call it Good Ending, or have a distinction at all, is because technically, as soon as you get Cubfu, you can release your Cubfu, and the guy on the island is just like, all right, you don't have Cubfu anymore. There's no point in befriending anybody. Just go up the tower. So it's sort of a meme. No one's actually done like a bad ending run yet, but the potential is there. So if you want a free record, go for it. So yeah, this will be an interesting run. We're not going to do any gyms. This is purely go to the DLC area as fast as possible and take that on. So you're going to see about 30 minutes of like a normal Pokemon Sword speedrun, followed by about an hour or a little bit more of sort of the new content that we got last month. But yeah, that intro sequence, we met a whole lot of people that we're not going to have to worry about in this run. We met Leon, who's the current champion. He's also Hop's brother. This person walking into my house right now is Hop. He's sort of our rival. We're only going to fight him 2 times, as opposed to the 8 times we would normally face him. We also met Chairman Rose, who we're never going to see again. And we met one of the gym leaders who, again, we're never going to see during this run. Pretty standard Pokemon start. We're going to set our options. Fast text, animations off, battle style set. One nice thing that this game has, two nice things in the options. One is it has the ability to turn off nicknames. I'm going to leave it on because we do have nickname incentives for some of the Pokemon being used. So let's go ahead and do that. And the other option, if you look at the bottom there, is skip movies. So Pokemon, especially speedruns and especially late generation, have had a bad reputation of having a lot of cutscenes. And starting in Pokemon Let's Go and continuing into this game, they gave us the option to skip movies. It doesn't skip every cutscene because there are cutscenes that aren't considered movies where you're just sort of like mashing through text. But any sort of pre-rendered cutscene that you don't have to mash through, those can all be skipped. So if you've played the game before, there's like a little cutscene where you get introduced to all of the starters. There's one where you get introduced to all the gym leaders. All those can get skipped, but stuff like this doesn't. This game does have, I think it's the second longest in the Pokemon series to get to your starter Pokemon. It takes about 9 minutes to know if your starter Pokemon is runnable. In this particular category, we're going to be picking Sobble, and the Sobble has about a little bit over 50% chance of being runnable. So it's pretty good odds, especially when you consider some other games like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. You have like a 20% chance of being runnable, stuff like that. Because there's no RNG manipulation, we have to take our starter, check the stats, and hope it's good. So that's kind of a drag. But it does make routing pretty interesting because you now have to account for a plethora of different stats. This category in particular only cares about one stat. All we care about is our special attack good enough? And even then, the threshold for our special attack is not very high. It's like I said, half of all Sobbles should be runnable. But we're going to get to pick our starter after this little cutscene here, where we meet Hop. Or not Hop. We meet Hop's brother, Leon. Leon's the champion, undefeated champion. And he will remain undefeated today. So while we're going through this, I guess I can explain sort of what I'm looking for in a Sobble. Each Pokemon has 6 different stats. HP, physical attack, physical defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. And each one of those stats is going to have a number assigned to it that is its IV, or individual value, that tells it how fast it's going to grow. A 0 IV is really bad, a 31 IV is incredibly good. There's also the concept of natures. There are 25 natures, 5 of them do nothing. The other 20 will boost one stat and hinder another. So, for example, I can have a plus attack minus defense nature, and that would be low. I'm looking for a Sobble that's either plus special attack or neutral special attack, and 10 IV or higher. And I will know if I have that at level 6. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to save in front of the Sobble and grab it. Hopefully this one's runnable. If it's not, we can just reset and grab another one. Not a big deal. And what is the Sobble nickname? I apologize. I should have given you more warning.
No problem there. The Sobble nickname will be James Pond.
All right. I'll try to give you more warning for the Cubfu. We have one more nickname in this. It's Cubfu. It's going to be maybe like an hour, 5 minutes, hour and 10 minutes in. So get your donations for that. But yeah, so like I said, Sobble is going to most likely be runnable. I'm going to check my stats at level 6 rather than at level 5. And the reason for that is if I have 12 special attack at level 6, like 12 stat at level 5, sorry. That means I have anywhere from 0 to 19 IV. And I care if I'm above 10. So I will learn that on the level up, but I won't learn that at level 5. So there's really no point in even checking my stats at 5. The downside is if I don't have a runnable Sobble, I have to reset and go back to picking the Sobble and watch all of this again. One of the reasons why it's nice that it's fairly likely for me to have a runnable one. The other two stats that really matter are defense. Our defense doesn't matter enough for us to reset it. But having bad defense is really unfortunate because we're going to be taking a lot of damage, specifically on one fight. And then our speed we actually ideally would not be very high. You actually want low speed. But again, that's not something worth resetting over. So here we're fighting Hop for the first time. He actually has two Pokemon. One of the first, actually might be the first rival in the series to have two Pokemon the first time you fight him. He has a Wooloo here. We're going to level up, check our stats. All right, this one is not runnable. So I had 13 special attack at level 6, which means I had 0 to 9 IV. So I'd be able to get through most of the run with that, but there are a key few fights that would just not be favorable for me to get through. So instead of saving and resetting in front of the Sobble, I'd be saving and resetting in front of those fights, and we don't want that. So
I guess I can get some donations in?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. We have $6.90 from Kenny K saying Nana Grin, and they wanted to name the trainer Shen. We have $7 from Squilly Bob wanting to name the trainer Caillou. And we have $20 from the Salty Kerfluffle saying, let's go, Eddaket, or Kizaron. Nicknaming the trainer Kizaron is confusing me. Good luck on the run. And that was the amount that got the name Kizaron really locked in. So thank you very much for all of your generous donations.
Get to have this nice barbecue again. Guess that's an upside to having bad Sobble. All right. So I guess while I'm doing this beginning of the fight again, I can sort of explain. I'm actually going to be tracking my stats as we go. One of the other Pokemon runners, especially late gen, by the name of Wartab, who's done a bunch of runs on ESA before, has put together IV calculators for a lot of the games that don't have RNG manipulation. And it's basically a program that allows you to input the stats that you see via level ups into the program, and it will spit out essentially what are the possible IV combinations based on that. And so you can use that as you continually level up to narrow down your stats more and more. And it allows us to be incredibly granular when it comes to our routes, because we can say, like, if you have 20 to 23 IV defense, you're going to take this amount of damage, kind of thing. And it's a really good way to help optimize. With this Sobble doing as little damage as it is to the Wooloo, we actually are pretty much guaranteed to have minus attack, which is good. Attack doesn't matter for us. All right, very good special attack and very good speed, actually, which is unfortunate, but that's fine. So this one is runnable. We are going to continue. Yay. All right. Yeah, if you use a super effective move against Hop, he's going to add some flavor text. Same thing if you land a critical hit. Hop isn't the only trainer in the game that does this, and in fact, we're gonna get a new rival when we go to the Isle of Armor. And they are also going to do the same thing. So, yeah, unfortunate, but the any percent run, not in Sword. So in the any percent run, Sword and Shield actually have vastly different routes. In Sword, it's better to use Sobble all the way through the game, and in Shield, you main switch a couple times, you use Arcanine, you use Excadrill. a lot of the some of the routing for the rival fights in Sword will specifically avoid using super effective moves in order to make sure that text doesn't happen, which is really nice. But I'm not going to get into too much of the differences between those two. Sword and Shield do have different routes in this as well, because the rival that we get for the Isle of Armor is going to be different. This game, we're going to get Clara, who is a poison type expert. And in Shield, you get Avery, who's a psychic type expert. But there's only 3 fights that are different. And the strategies are mostly the same. It's just sort of like the damage calculations are a little bit different. Shield has a harder time on the first 2 fights and then an easier time on the second one. Or on the third one, sorry. So now we're going to go through the Slumbering Weald. Wooloo broke through the gate here, and we're going to go save it. We're getting these forced encounters. There are no random encounters in this game. There are 2 different kinds of encounters. There are overworld encounters, which you're going to see when I go to the next route, where the Pokemon are like running around or flying around in the overworld, and you can run into them or they can run into you to begin a battle. There are also, I like to call them underworld encounters because they're the opposite of overworld, where you get the little exclamation point, and the way that you encounter those is you have to like hover over the spot with the exclamation point during like a second or 2 after it appears. So all encounters are completely avoidable. Some of them are going to be harder to avoid than others, but everything is avoidable. However, there are 3 forced encounters here in the forest, and defeating them doesn't really give us any benefit. So, we just run away from each one. And now we get introduced to legendary for the game. Don't get to catch it yet. That would be broken. But we are introduced. There's a bit of lore here. We sort of get introduced to them and then forget about them for 4.5 hours, which is pretty great. One other thing I'll mention here is why we're picking Sobble specifically. I guess I didn't talk about that. So the 3 starters, there's Grookey the grass type, Scorbunny the fire type, and Sobble the water type. Sobble is the best one for a couple of different reasons. It has really good stats. It has very high special attack, which is complemented well by being a water type, having a lot of special type moves. And it also has a very high speed. It has like a fully evolved form has like 120 base speed, I think, something crazy like that. Scorbunny has very high speed and very high attack as well. However, the main problem with that, with Scorbunny specifically, is it doesn't get any moves that complement it early on. So it gets Ember at level 6, which is a special move, but it's a physical attacker. It gets Double Kick at 12, which is decent, but like it doesn't have a good same type attack bonus move until it evolves. And then Grookey is okay. Grass isn't a great type, especially for speedruns, and he's just not as fast as the other 2, so that's really why Grookey isn't picked. All right, so now that we're done there, we're going to go and get a small loan from our mother. She's going to give us some pocket change, you know, like 30,000 Poké Dollars. The game tries to pass this off as pocket change. Yeah, some pocket money here. Go buy some potions. You know how many potions I can get with 30,000 Poké Dollars? A lot. And then we're going to make our way onto Route 1. So, Route 1, we are going to intentionally get an encounter and catch it. For 2 different reasons. The first reason is it's going to net us a little bit of experience, which is really nice, especially for this upcoming route. We have a couple of force trainers on the next route, so being able to get level 8 a little bit earlier than normal, level 10 during the hop fight, all that stuff is really nice. And the other reason is there's a catch tutorial on the next route that can be skipped by catching something ahead of time. The game says, oh, you've already caught something, We're not going to teach you how to catch something. I was looking for Wooloo, not Squavit, but no Wooloo spawned, so Squavit's the next best thing. Wooloo just has a really high experience yield, so would have been nice, but we'll take anything. And then we go over here for some more plot stuff.
Do we have time for a donation during plot stuff?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wonderful. We have a $20 donation by JP Xinem saying all of my promised donations plus rounding up. Thanks to ESA for having us all on, and good luck to Eddaket and the rest. Thank you very much for that. We have another $20 from Ryzikin saying, hey Eddaket, good luck on the run. May the blissies be nice. And we have a $100 donation by Brosaws54 saying, bless the ESA fans for naming our trainer after our meme lord and dad, Kizaron. Also, good luck to Eddaket. Thank you very much for all of your generous donations. Those put us at a donation total of $22,926. So we are only $74 away from the 23K. Can we do this during this run? I dare you.
I think we can do it. Thank you guys for those donations. Very generous. So after this plot stuff, we're going to get the Pokedex. We're going to go outside, be given a bunch of potions from some random guy who apparently gives potions to trainers. Grab a rare candy and then head up into the next route. In order to access the Isle of Armor, so anyone who's played the game casually knows that in order to get to the Isle of Armor, you have to go to the Wedgehurst train station. We're currently in Wedgehurst, and the train station is directly to my left. I'm going to be passing it. It's over there on the left. However, you can't actually go to the Isle of Armor until you gained access to the wild area. The wild area is one of the new things in this game. It's sort of like this big open world area. You can go to super late game areas early. It's really kind of cool. But until you gain access to the wild area, you can't go to the Isle of Armor. So we do have to play for like another 7 or 8 minutes before we can do that. In the wild area, there are going to be a bunch of things that happen. So I'm going to talk about them now, just because talking about them all at the same time is going to get really confusing. And there's not a ton to talk about right now, as I'm just going through the first trainers of the game. So right before the run started, we set our clock. We set the date specifically to be October 18th. In the wild area, there are different regions. So like there's the Rolling Fields, there's Dappling Grove, there's East Lake Axwell. And each one of those areas are going to have different weather depending on what day it is. And every October 18th is going to have the same weather. Okay? So in certain weathers, certain Pokemon will appear. And that's, you know, one of the things that makes the wild area really special. Some Pokemon are only going to be there in rain. Some are only going to be there when it's snowing or in a sandstorm or whatever. So that's why we set the date the way we did. We set the time to be specifically 11:40 p.m. because there's another mechanic in the wild area called the Watt Traders. So there are a bunch of shops, essentially, guys that sell things scattered throughout the wild area, and their inventory changes from day to day. However, it's not based on the date. It's based on like the number of days since you started the game. So on day 0 that you start the game, or day 1, whatever, they'll have one inventory, and that will always be the case. So every run or every game, new game that you start in Pokemon Sword and Shield, if you get to the wild area on the same day you start, all of the Watt Traders will have the exact same inventory. as soon as midnight hits, that inventory changes. So we want to get to the wild area on day 2 of the game start, of like day 2 of gameplay, so that the Watt Trader in Motostoke, right outside Motostoke in East Lake Axwell, is going to have a specific inventory for us to buy, specifically a Quick Ball. Quick Balls are Pokeballs that have increased catch rate if you use them on turn 1. And there is one thing in the run that we have to catch. So by using a Quick Ball, it's going to be a guaranteed. This day also coincides. So it's actually October 19th is the day we actually care about. We set it to the 18th so that way it rolls into the 19th. October 19th is also nice because there's going to be one area in the Isle of Armor. So the Isle of Armor is basically another wild area. There are no towns. It's just, like I said, just another wild area. There's one area that we want it to be raining, and it just so happens that the weather we need in the mainland wild area coincides with the weather we need in the Isle of Armor wild area on that same day. So a lot of stuff to do with the date. It's actually pretty... I find it interesting. I probably just bored the heck out of everybody for 3 minutes, but I don't care. So yeah, now that we beat the first 2 trainers, we're going to fight Hop yet again. The game doesn't know that we plan on ditching the main story in like 5 minutes, but in order to enter the gym challenge, you have to be given a letter of endorsement from somebody who's already been through it, or somebody on the council. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't read the text. But basically, Leon will give us a letter of endorsement if we fight Hop. So we're going to go ahead and do that. You can actually lose this battle, and he still gives you the letter of endorsement, which is pretty funny. But it's not faster. It's faster if you pick Grookey, because Hop now has expanded his team to include Rookity, which is a flying type, and you can just get destroyed by him. But if you're Grookey, but with Sobble and Scorbunny, it's you waste so much time trying to die that it's not worth it. All right, so I haven't been paying attention to my stats too much, but I know I'm going to level up on the Wooloo because I am level 8. I got Wild Squovit instead of Wooloo, so I'm going to be a little bit under-leveled. They talked about it a little bit in the Black Run, if you guys were watching, maybe like an hour ago. But basically, the experience curve in Generation 5 and then 7 and 8 is scaled. So if you're a lower level, you're going to gain more experience than if you're a higher level. And what that means is I am going to struggle a little bit, but eventually we're going to more or less even out with if I had gotten really good experience, because by having good experience, I'd be a higher level and I'd gain less experience. So that's going to come into play. The levels or the experience scaling is really going to come into play in the last like 10 minutes of this run. But we'll discuss that when we get there. All right, so I've determined my special attack IV is 27 to 29, and again, that can be as high as 31, so that's actually pretty decent. It's neutral special attack, so it's not like amazing, but 27 is nothing to sneak at, so great about that. And then yeah, that's it for Hop. So bit more tech smashing, and then we backtrack to Wedgehurst. So if you have any more donations or announcements, now's a good time.
Wonderful. Then please let me remind everyone that all donation revenue from ESA Summer Online goes towards Alzheimer Fonden, the Swedish Alzheimer's Foundation. Alzheimer's is the 6th leading cause of death in the United States. On average, a person with Alzheimer's lives 4 to 8 years after diagnosis, but can live as long as 20 years, depending on other factors. Alzheimer Found's aim and purpose is to increase fundraising to the benefit of scientific research in order to find a cure for Alzheimer's disease. So please donate for this really, really important and awesome cause. And as I said earlier, we are not far away from 23K, so I would really like if we would hit that during this run.
All right. So one more thing I forgot to mention about the wild area is actually semi-related to that experience scaling. So the game, because they introduced the wild area, they basically made it so that it doesn't matter what level you are, Pokemon that are high level are still going to spawn in the wild area. If I go to the back of the wild area, I'm going to get level 40 Pokemon. And I'm only level 10 right now. So what they did was, to prevent it from being completely broken, they introduced a level cap to say, if you only have like 0 badges, for example, you can't catch Pokemon that are above level 20. And that level goes up the more badges you have. So if I have 2 badges, I can catch Pokemon up to level 30. And in addition, I don't know, that one totally makes sense to me. Like, balance the game, whatever, make it so I can't go to the back of the wild area, catch a level 60, and then steamroll the game. Another change they made, which is a little bit less advertised, is Pokemon that are a higher level than you, even if they're under the level cap, if they're a higher level than you are just flat out harder to catch. We don't have exact numbers, but it's roughly like 10%. So if a Pokemon would normally be 90% to catch, it's 9%. So there is one Pokemon we have to catch in this run. It's a level 12 Slowpoke, and that's the next thing I have to do. I'm only level 10, so I'm actually going to fight one of those high-level Pokemon to get myself up to level 12, so that way I can catch the Slowpoke reliably. Slowpoke would normally be guaranteed in a Quick Ball on turn 1, but if I'm level 10, it's going to be very hard to catch, like 10%. So we're going to go in the wild area to Rolling Fields. It's going to be thunderstorms out. Rain is going to help our water-type Pokemon. And encounter a level 26 Onix. The level 26 Onix is 4 times weak to water, so our level 10 Sobble is going to be able to 2-shot it. Now, the Onix is going to have a chance, it's going to have 2 chances, really, to KO us in return, so I'm going to go ahead and save in front of it, because I do need this experience, and dying sort of negates the purpose. But yeah, so you are favored to 2-shot it. It has 4 moves. One of them is Rock Slide, which can miss. But Rock Slide is the one move that can actually KO you. It also has Dragon Breath, which doesn't KO you. It does if it uses it twice, but won't KO you. And then Screech and Curse both don't do anything. So ideally we see like Curse or Curse Screech or something like that. But whatever we can do to get through the Onix is going to be helpful. So we get introduced to the wild area, some more tutorial stuff, and then this Onix is actually right at the front of the wild area, and there's some flavor text that appears right ahead of it. Basically, the first time you encounter it, it's going to be like, there are Pokemon that are higher level than you. So normally when you're doing a run, you try to avoid like all those little flavor texts. There's one there, and there's one when you first approach a berry tree. But yeah, so not a big deal. Go ahead and save here and encounter this onyx. Like I said, I should two-shot it. There's a chance, depending on your special attack and the onyx's stats, that you don't two-shot it, but you usually do. And then you want it to use either 2 non-damaging moves, or that's a bad roll. So hopefully I get a high roll. This will knock me into torrent. Yeah, okay, cool. So another thing I didn't mention, because it doesn't come into play until later on in the Isle of Armor, is that Sobble's ability is Torrent, and Torrent is an ability, all the starters have the same ability, different names and for different types, but the same base function, which is when you're under 1/3 health, so if I have 30 health, if I'm under 10 health, my water type moves are going to be doing 50% more damage. So because I got hit by Dragon Breath and knocked into Torrent, my water gun was going to do 50% more damage than the first one did, guaranteeing that damage roll, which is really nice. Oh no, I died. I told myself I wasn't gonna debate anybody with the death warps because there are so many in this run, it would just get old very fast. Normally with Pokemon runs and marathons, you gotta play up the death warps, but there's too many in this run. So this is the Watt Trader. As you can see, he has a quick ball. If you were to just do a playthrough and it doesn't roll to the next day, he'd have a heal ball instead. So that's why we needed it to go the next day. We got the 50 watts from one of the max raid dens. Not too important. So now that we're in the wild area, we can actually just go to the Isle of Armor, but we do want to do a few things first. We're going to go here specifically so we can buy X items. X items are absolutely crucial when it comes to Pokemon speedruns, and this run in particular, because we're going to be severely underleveled for a lot of the Isle of Armor. So X items are absolutely necessary. We also need some healing items. There was the guy who gave us 5 potions, but again, because we're going to be so underleveled, 5 potions is not going to be enough. So we're going to buy some more potions. I'm going to buy a couple revives because this is a marathon run. Then buy our X items. $11 potions. Not 11 revives. That would be crazy. So we buy X special attacks, 2 X defends, and 11 X attack. And then now we're done. We're gonna go ahead and go back through the wild area and take the train at the train station back to we're in Motostoke, back to Wedgehurst, sorry. And then we'll start triggering the Isle of Armor stuff. So if you guys haven't seen the DLC, this is the point where things are going to be different. I like the idea that Sonia went up there and was waiting for us, and we're just never gonna talk to her. All right, so again, I'm not gonna fool you guys. We're death warping. Mudsdale here has 3 moves that can kill us. There's one of them. There we go. This time, instead of saying yes, take me to the next city, we're just gonna say no, leave me right here, and she will leave us right here, and we're gonna be able to just enter the train station really quick. It's kind of interesting that dying in the wild area doesn't bring you back to the last Pokemon Center you were in like it does everywhere else in the game. Obviously, it's really nice for speedruns. You can death warp across the entire wild area. Later on in the main any % run, we have to go. It's if you were to actually do it, even on the bike, it's close to 1.5 minutes of biking just from one side of the wild area to the other. And instead we can just go die to a wild encounter and warp to the other side. So here's that Slowpoke that I mentioned. We do have to catch it. It's currently blocking the ticket gate. As you can see, we can't access the ticket gate with the Slowpoke where it is. So I don't know. And you have to catch it. You can't just defeat it. So we throw a quick ball. Guaranteed catch. Yeah, that's we now have access to the Isle of Armor. We don't use the Slowpoke for anything. It's just there. And this lovely lady right here is Clara. Clara is going to be our rival for the Isle of Armor. She is a poison type expert. So Galarian Slowpoke is, well, Galarian Slowbro is part poison, part psychic. Wait, no, I don't want to do that. I want to talk to him. So with her being the poison type expert, she's going to have one. And then Avery, who is the rival in Shield, also has one, part psychic as well. So yeah, now I'm in the Isle of Armor. The Isle of Armor doesn't have a ton of fights. And the Pokemon that I'm going to be facing here are between level 10. The first Pokemon I'm going to face is level 10. The last one I'm going to face is level 30. And there's like 6 fights total. 6 trainer fights total. Something like that. Maybe it's like 8. Either way, there's not a ton. So we're going to be under-leveled through a lot of them. Which is where the experience scaling is really going to come into play. The other thing that's worth mentioning is one of the things that was really misconstrued when the DLC was first coming out is the idea of level scaling in the Isle of Armor itself. So one of the first like news publications that came out about like a review of the DLC before it had come out to the public was that there was level scaling. If you had a high level team, it was going to be high level opponents. If you had a low level team, low level opponents. That's kind of true, but basically it's saying that if you've beaten the main story of the game, like of the main game, you have high level opponents, and if you haven't beaten the main story of the game, you have low level opponents. So this level 10 Venipede that I'm about to face, I could be 4 hours into the speedrun and face the same level 10 Venipede. If I played an extra 5 minutes and like caught the Eternatus at the end, it'd become a level 60 Venipede. So there is no category yet that is like beat the game and the Isle of Armor. But if there was, you absolutely wouldn't go to the Isle of Armor first. You'd probably still go early for a reason that I'll explain a little bit. But you wouldn't go right away, so. All right. As you can see, because she's our rival, she gets these nice flavor texts as well. That's actually the reason why we're going to use 2 exit special attacks instead of only 1. Because if her Slowpoke were to attack us, there's a decent chance that you'd use Acid as the move. And Acid is a poison type move, and she's the poison type person, so she'll be like, oh, I used my poison type move, and waste like 5 seconds. So it's worth it to just set up an extra X special attack. I didn't actually talk about what X items do. So X items are a way that you can boost the stages for your Pokemon stats. So I can boost my special attack stage by 2 for every X special attack that I use. Each stage equates to about a 50% increase. So +1 would be 150%, +2 would be 200%, +3 is 250, etc. Up to basically a 4 times increase if you're at +6. We never get that high. I think the highest we actually go is that +4 I just went, but it's really powerful. X items before Generation 7, X items were only 1 stage, and they were still very useful. Like they're used in every Pokemon speedrun. But starting in Generation 7 with them doing +2 stages, it's just insane. So coming up here, the main story for the Isle of Armor is that there's a Master Dojo, and Clara is one of the trainers in the Master Dojo, and she like scared away some other trainer that was supposed to go, and so when you show up, the main person of the dojo is like, you must be the person who's supposed to come, and Clara is like, yes, this is the person that was supposed to come. I didn't scare them away. And then now you're part of the Master Dojo. You have to take on these 3 trials to prove your worthiness. And then once you've proved your worth, you get gifted a Cubfu. Cubfu is the legendary Pokemon that was added with the Isle of Armor DLC. And then have like one final task where we have to take the Cubfu up the tower to evolve into Urshifu. So this is Honey. She's like the mother of the house. And then the Dojo Master inside is the fight that we're about to do. Is Dojo Master Mustard. So yes, it is Honey and Mustard. Pop comedy here.
Do we have time for a quick message?
Let me explain this fight real quick, and then we should be good.
Sure.
So this fight here is actually one of, if not the hardest fight in the run. And the main reason for it is that our Sobble takes a lot of damage from the Mindfu. So the main way that the strategy is going to work is we're going to use an X special attack on turn 1 and get Fake Out. Fake Out is going to cause us to flinch, so using a move doesn't help anyways. And then it's going to use Force Palm, which has a chance of paralyzing us, which should knock us into Torrent, and then we should be able to one-shot everything after that. If our defense is bad, then we're going to get KO'd by Force Palm. If our speed is too high, we don't outspeed the Mindfu, and it doesn't hit us into Torrent, and then bad things can happen. So I'm definitely going to save here. And then you should be good to go.
Wonderful. I want to remind everyone that we are currently having some bait wars still open. For this run, we still need to name the Cubfu that we will get later on. Currently in the lead is the name Burrs Wanye with currently $200. And we also have Lat Mackey with $5 as a possibility, but you can still snipe even the $200 with whatever you want, at least if it fits into the 12 character max. So if you want to name the Cubfu, now's your chance. Also, coming up right after this run is Pokemon Puzzle League, where you can also pick the Pokemon that the runner will use during the run. We are currently leading with Bulbasaur at $79, and after that we have Squirtle with $15. I'm pretty sure there was once a third option, but I can't seem to find it, but I don't think it matters really, so whatever, right? So yeah, please keep your donations coming, and we are still on our way to the 23k, so hopefully we will get there.
Yeah, so that fight actually went exactly the way it's supposed to. A lot of times it doesn't go the way it's supposed to. He has a chance of using the move U-turn on turn 2 instead, which what U-turn will do is it damages you, and then the Mindfu comes back to the party, and he'll send out the Shinx. You can typically KO the Shinx, no problem, but then when the Mindfu comes back out, you can't deal with it because it's faster than you, it has Fake Out, it's going to deal a ton of damage, and you're not in Torrent, so like, the whole thing is a mess. But we just got a textbook fight there, which is More than I could say about all of my practice runs. Every one of my practice runs had a bad fight there. That's good. So here he's introducing us to the 3 trials. The first trial, he gets interrupted trying to explain. Clara doesn't get given her dojo uniform like we have. We have this stylish new uniform. Clara gets given the uniform, and then these slowpokes take it away. They're not so slow. They're actually incredibly fast. And the first trial is going to be to retrieve the dojo uniform from the slowpokes. So, yeah, the 3 slowpokes are gimmicked. It was recently found out that they have maximum HP, maximum speed, and their speed, they also have like +6 speed in terms of stat stages. So they're always going to outspeed us, and they're pretty tanky and bulky. So what we did when we set the date was we set it so that in the Soothing Wetlands, which is the wild area region just to the north of us, it'll be raining. And with it being raining, our water type moves are going to be 50% more powerful. So we'll be able to deal more damage. There's still 2 shots. In some cases, it's going to be a 3-shot, but yeah. I'm going to go out of my way a little bit to pick up a couple of berries, Pecha berries and Chesto berries. I forgot to mention, but right before the mustard fight, I equipped a cherry berry as well. Cherry berry is a berry that you start the game with. I think it's given to you at some point. I forget exactly when, but it will heal paralysis, and Force Palm has the chance to paralyze us, so we equip the cherry berries so that if we do get paralyzed, it doesn't hurt us. Being paralyzed gives you a 1 in 3, 1 in 4 chance now? I forget. It used to be 1 in 2, but they changed it. I think it's a 1 in 4 chance to not do anything that turn, to be fully paralyzed, and it also halves your speed, so pretty bad. We're going to pick up the TR right there for Muddy Water. TRs are effectively like TMs in the old games, except they are not infinite use, so you can only use one of them. Typically, the way you get TRs are by doing max raids, but the Isle of Armor DLC gave us a bunch of TRs sitting on the ground, so we can actually gain access to good moves. Wow, I'm only level 14. That's pretty bad. Squavit is killing me. So we're probably going to do like under half with Muddy Water here. Pretty bad. We equipped the Chesto Berry because we can get Yawned. Yawn is a move that the second turn after you get hit with Yawn, you get put to sleep. So equipping the Chesto Berry enables us to wake back up immediately. And then, yeah, Muddy Water is a 90 base power move, I want to say, but it's 85% accurate, so having to rely on it is pretty scary. So that's the first Slowpoke down. All 3 Slowpokes are going to be the same. They're all, fairly high level. I'm going to do the same general strategies for them. I am going to skip this one, though, and then fight the one that's a little bit further up. The main reason is we didn't play enough of the main game to gain access to fly, like the ability to transport ourselves across the map. And because of that, I don't have a fast way to get back to the dojo. So I'm going to have to Death Warp again, as has been done a couple times already. And the second Slowpoke is just closer to the Pokemon we're going to Death Warp off of, so it just makes more sense to fight this one first and then backtrack to fight the second one. The other kind of difficult thing here with this fight, or with any of the Slowpokes, is they have the move Disable. And because they go first, if you're relying on using Muddy Water turn 2, there's a chance he uses Disable and disables your Muddy Water, and then you just did nothing that turn. Because your Muddy Water is now disabled, so ideally what happens is you do enough damage on turn 1 to where you can Water Pulse on turn 2. Water Pulse is 60 power, so you need to do like 60% damage with Muddy Water in order to be able to Water Pulse. And then now we've evolved into Drizzile. We're not going to see Inteleon. Inteleon is the final stage of Sobble. We're not going to see that, but we are going to see Drizzile, which I am okay with. I like Sobble and Drizzile, but Inteleon is not my favorite. So now we're just going to sit here. That right there, that's the Pokemon we're going to Death Warp off of. So don't want to stray too far. Now that we're Drizzile, we're going to do a little bit more damage. So we should be able to use Water Pulse turn 2. Oh, easily. Wow, that actually almost KO'd. That's kind of crazy. All right. So that's all 3 Slowpokes down. Now we are done with the first trial. What's kind of funny about the trials in this is he makes it sound like everybody's included in them, but like you're the only one who completes all 3 trials. Like you complete trial 1 by yourself. You're going to complete trial 2, spoiler, by yourself. Oh, I never deposited Slowpoke. Whoops. I was supposed to do that. Not a big deal. Growl. Oh my god, I can't be confused. Well, yeah, before, when I was doing the menu where I taught Muddy Water, I was supposed to deposit the Slowpoke. I completely forgot. That's okay. The next menu I do is going to be depositing something, so not a big deal. So now that we've Death Warped, we're back in the dojo and completed trial 1. The second trial is going to be to gain, or to gather some max mushrooms. So those are some new items that were introduced in the game. The game sort of expects you to have already progressed in the main story a little bit, because it starts talking about Dynamax and Gigantamax, and like if you were a player and you went straight to the Isle of Armor, you'd have no idea what any of that means. So it's I don't know, it's kind of funny. Here we're gonna get given the choice between Bulbasaur and Squirtle. This would have been a bid war, however, which one we pick actually matters for this route. If you're playing in Shield, you can pick whichever one you want, but because I'm playing on Sword, you have to pick Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur sucks. I don't like him, but we couldn't really do the run without him. So he's our Pokemon. We can pretend. All right, so anyways, he starts talking about Dynamaxing, Gigantamaxing. Dynamax is the new quirk added to Generation 8. And it's kind of like a mix between Z moves and Mega Evolution. You get this really big Pokemon. It doesn't boost any of its stats except for its health. But all of its moves turn into like Z move-esque moves where they all have higher base power, typically. And they all have a special secondary effect. And the secondary effect that they have is based on the type of the move. So if we were to Dynamax our Drizzile, we'd have gain access to Max Geyser, which is the water type max move. And Max Geyser has a side effect where it will cause rain to appear. So that's going to be useful for us. We're actually going to Dynamax in this run. Typically, you don't want to Dynamax because Dynamaxing is fairly slow. It's like a 30-second animation, but sometimes it's just necessary, and this is one of those cases where it is. And then, yeah, so he talks about Gigantamaxing. One of the ways you can turn a Dynamax Pokemon into a Gigantamax Pokemon is by using these Max Mushrooms, which wasn't even a thing before the Isle of Armor. So, like, for casual players, it's a really nice quality of life improvement to be able to just change your Pokemon from Dynamax to Gigantamax. There are specific Pokemon that can Gigantamax. Like, I can't Gigantamax a Passimian, for example, but I could Gigantamax a Venusaur. And the main difference, or the only difference between Gigantamax and Dynamax is each Gigantamax Pokemon has a signature move. So, for example, Venusaur has G-Max Vine Lash, which is a move, grass-type move that will cause the opponent, or the opposing side of the field to take hazard damage every turn. There's a bunch of G-Max moves. I'm not going to name them all, but sometimes they're better, sometimes they're worse than the Dynamax alternative. Yeah, we don't really care about the Gigantamaxing, to be quite honest, in like the speedruns. If you play everything correctly, you should only ever see one Gigantamax move in all of the routes of Sword and Shield speedrunning. So here are those max mushrooms. We're going to go ahead and actually deposit our Pokemon. I remembered. I'm also going to save because this fight relies on us hitting a couple of Muddy Waters. And like I said, Muddy Water is 85% accurate, so there's a chance that we will get hit. But let me scroll down in my notes real quick, make sure I've got damage out. My special attack is high enough. Okay, cool. You're level 16. Like, you're supposed to be level 17 here, but you can be level 16. Obviously, I am. Ranges get pretty bad if you're level 16 here, but we'll be fine. Nice. So one thing that doesn't really come into play a ton in this run, but does come into play in other Pokemon runs, is the idea of like keeping like what's the right word? What's the word I'm looking for? Planning for your Pokemon to level up at certain points to basically make sure you have like an optimal level for the fight that you're trying to do. So what that means in simpler terms is Pokemon have a damage increase when they hit level 15 or 18 or 20. Basically, if the Pokemon's level ends in a 0, 3, 5, or 8, because of the way the rounding works in the damage formula, they're going to have a boost to their attack. So by hitting level 18 there, it's really nice because the Whirlipede's actually pretty difficult to KO. But you should always hit level 15 or level 18 there. It doesn't come into play a lot in this run. Like I said, that was pretty much the only time it actually matters. But when you're thinking about like an entire game, like the entirety of Sword and Shield, that comes into play a lot. So it's always worth mentioning. Because a lot of people don't know that. Because typically if you're a casual player, you either don't care too much about things like damage rolls. Or if you're like a competitive player, everybody has a fixed level, so you don't think about those kind of things. So once again, go ahead and Death Warp back. Now that we got the max mushrooms, we can head back and finish off trial number 2. And then the third trial is going to be a battle between you and Clara. I don't know why Clara's even still in the running. She's the one who lost her dojo uniform. She tried to steal the max mushrooms from us. But sure, third trial is between me and her. Why not? Basically, there's some character development here where Clara the entire time is just trying to screw you over and is very much like in it for herself. We sort of glossed over it because we were talking about something else, but the when you go to grab the max mushrooms, Clara like ambushes you and says, "Oh no, I'm gonna take them. You can't have them," kind of thing. And we're actually about to fight her one last time, and she once again stages the battle in her favor. It's actually, I wish this happened a little bit more, like as a casual fan, as a speedrunner, it's kind of unfortunate that we have to do some special things to get around it. But basically, she's gonna cheat and set up an entry hazard before we even get out on the field. Avery does the same thing, but Avery's is a little bit less egregious. So when you're about to do this next battle against Avery, he instantly sets up a psychic terrain. So psychic terrain, I don't even know all of what it does, but the one thing I know that it does is it makes priority moves not work. We're not using priority moves, so it like wouldn't affect us. This woman right here, she sets up toxic spikes. And what toxic spikes do is as soon as you get sent out on the field, it's going to poison you with toxic poison, meaning you're going to take a lot of passive damage throughout the entire fight. But we're not going to have that. As you know, we picked up those Pecha berries. Pecha berries are berries that will heal off poison. And in addition, we picked up our good pal that we love so dearly, Squirtle, who is a poison-type Pokemon. And with him being a poison-type Pokemon, he's actually going to absorb the toxic spikes for us. So that's why if you're playing in this game and you're facing Clara, you need to pick Bulbasaur for the speedrun. But in Sword, you can pick either one because you don't need to worry about it. And then this here is probably the worst fight in the run. Like there's 3 fights that are like really bad, but this is probably the worst one because there's a 23% chance that she just kind of screws you over. And hopefully we don't get to see it. So there is a lot that goes on in this fight. She's going to lead a Skorupi. Skorupi is a poison bug type Pokemon. And it's going to be spamming Psychic Fang. Not Psychic Fang. Poison Fang. Sorry. Poison Fang has a 30% chance to poison us. So even though we equip the Pecha Berry, there's actually a relatively decent chance that we get poisoned twice in a row. And it removes our Pecha Berry and leaves us poisoned. If that happens, the fight isn't lost, but it makes it a whole lot harder. The very first thing that we're going to do here, though, after Squirtle dies, is we're going to use a Max Mushroom. So the Max Mushroom is not only an item that allows you to turn a Dynamax Pokemon to Gigantamax, it's an item that can be used in battle. And when it's used in battle, it boosts every single one of your stats by 1 stage. So you can see my attack, defense, special attack, all that got boosted. Of course I got poison turn 1. I'm also going to use an X special attack. This is going to put me at +3 special attack total. And look at that, 9% chance. All right. Hit the Muddy Water. So the main reason why this is bad is because the Slowbro that she's going to have at the very end has the ability Quick Draw. Quick Draw is a new ability. It's basically, if you know what a Quick Claw item does, it's effectively the same thing. There's something like a 20, I don't know the exact number, it's like 23.4% chance that the Slowbro will ignore speed and just go first. If you don't get poisoned twice and start taking passive damage, there's a chance that you can live if it quick draws, but because I got poisoned, I don't live. So we just need the 77% chance that it doesn't use quick draw. That's about it. Everything else is a pushover once we get set up enough. You do have to Muddy Water the Skorupi, which can miss, but other than that, Dynamax moves can't miss. They just completely ignore the accuracy. On the bright side, I'm down into Torrent, which if I had worse special attack would guarantee the range here, but all right, no quick draw. So we got through that fight. That's really good. And because we got through this fight, we probably have maybe like 2 minutes tops before we need the Cub Fu name. So any last minute donations for that? Oh, and we critical hit. So Torrent, critical hit. Thing is toast. All right. All right, so now that we are finished with all 3 trials, we are going to be gifted a Cub Fu. And the Cub Fu, we're going to have to do 2 things with the Cub Fu. We have to befriend it, so we have to get friendly enough with it that it likes us, and Mustard sees that we have a friendship. And once we have increased our friendship, we can do the second part, which is take on the Tower of Two Fists. Whole point of the speedrun. There are 2 towers. There is the Tower of Waters and the Tower of Darkness. There are 2 different Urshifu forms, so that's how you evolve into them. You can go up the Tower of Waters and get Rapid Strike Urshifu, I think it is, which is water fighting. Or you can go up the Dark one and get Single Strike Urshifu, which is dark fighting. We're going to go up the Dark Tower because Dark is weak to fighting, and you have to use Cub Fu and only Cub Fu in the tower. So Cub Fu's only good moves are fighting type, at least at this stage in the game. So we're basically forced to. So I'm going to go ahead and save because Cub Fu stats do matter, and we will need the Cub Fu nickname.
Okay, I just closed the bid war, and I'm reloading in case any last donations came in that I haven't seen yet. But from the looks of it, it will be Burrs 1 yay.
All right.
Do you need me to spell that out for you?
I don't think so. It should be, it's just Bruce Wayne, but then the U and the R and the N and the Y are swapped, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, cool. Do that. All right. Burrs. Anye. Very cool. Thank you guys for donating for all the nicknames. Always fun with Pokemon runs. So we're going to check our stats here. Technically, I can run with any Cub Fu. However, I want to specifically show off certain strategy, which does require me to have decent stats at least. So, let's see, 19 speed is not enough. So we're going to go ahead and roll another one. Most of the stats don't matter. The speed is the most important one. So, and I don't want to spoil why it matters, because it's for one specific fight, and it's honestly it's a really cool fight. Other stats that kind of do matter are we need to have enough attack. If we have really high speed, we need really good attack as well. If we have like the average speed, then we can use any attack stat. We also need a decent defense and HP combo, because we're going to be taking a lot of physical damage, and some defense HP combos just can't live. So, yeah. we are pretty likely to have good stats. Kubfu is a legendary Pokemon, and legendary Pokemon have guaranteed 3 stats at 31 IV. So, or at maximum IVs. So you're guaranteed to have 3 stats as good as possible. So I spelled that wrong. All right, burst. So getting good speed is pretty likely. It's like over 50%. We'll quickly check our stats again. We're looking for 22 speed ideally. 21 is okay. 22 speed, 18, this is perfect. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and deposit everybody except for our Kubfu. We're also going to quickly change the date. As I mentioned, weather is controlled by the date. So we're going to change it so that... did I actually change the date or did I cancel out of it? I did, okay. We're going to change it so it is specifically foggy outside here. Now, the Tower of Two Fists have Pokemon that are fairly high level. They're all going to be between level 25 and level 30. And as you can see, my Kubfu is level 10. How are we going to level up, one might ask? I was hoping I'd have more time before I had to destroy this level 15 Blissey, which is the best possible one. Cool. So, yeah, we're gonna be destroying Blisseys here, and that did a lot of damage, actually. Holy moly! All right, we're fine. So this Blissey, level 15, Blissey is known for having a really high experience yield. It's going to give us about 4,000 experience and get us up to level 16. All right? All right. Yeah, so that's amazing. Wait, hold on. I'm done with my level grinding. I'm done with my level grinding already. What? That's actually kind of crazy. You never need more than 4 Blisseys, but you typically need 3, and they're 2% to appear. They're not common to appear. So, getting 2 Blisseys back to back is insane. So I'm done leveling up for the tower after, what is that, like 2 minutes? Cool. If we didn't have to reset for the Sobble and the Kubfu, this would actually be probably like 125 pace. Whatever, not important. So we've done our leveling up. You may have noticed that I said the Pokemon we're going to be facing are between level 25 and level 30, and we're only level 18. Don't worry about that. We'll be fine. The other thing we need to do is we need to befriend our Kubfu. So, in order to do that, the Dojo Master has scattered some dojo students throughout the Isle of Armor at scenic locations, and we can go sightseeing with our Kubfu to boost our friendship. So here we're going to look at the nice pixelated wall in the cave. It's going to be great. This is going to boost our friendship. There are 4 of these spots throughout the Isle of Armor, but we typically only want to go to 3. The 4th one is very far out of the way. If we don't have enough friendship after 3, which is rare but possible, we will have to play with our Pokemon in Pokemon Camp, which is a thing. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. I can't get over the Blisseys. That was crazy. Blissey's the Pokemon with the highest experience yields. To put into perspective, a Pokemon like Excadrill, which is, you know, a decently, you know, a Pokemon that you would expect to have a decent experience yield, like it's a beefy Pokemon, it's not like some weak thing, has about a, I think it's like a 180 experience yield. Blissey has a 635 experience yield. It was actually buffed in Generation 8. from like 608 to 635. So you get insane amounts of experience. Couple that with the fact that experience is scaled. That level 15 Blissey was 5 levels higher than our level 10 Kubfu. We got an insane amount of experience.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. We have a $10 donation by Passeray without a comment. And a $15 donation by Urenje with a smiley face as a comment. The $10 from Passeray go towards the White Cat blindfold for the what was it, for the Super Smash Brothers 64 Break the Target run that will be later on in the marathon. So that's a run I really do want to see because it's blindfolded. So thank you very much for that donation.
Yeah, so we have to run around here to go to all the spots. We don't have the bike yet, which makes this kind of slow. We also don't have fly. There is a guy you can talk to at the entrance to the warm-up tunnel, which is where we fought Clara the second time. However, because we don't have fly, there's no point in talking to him to register a fly point. Yeah. While I have a little bit of downtime, I just wanted to also plug there. This is not the only Pokemon Sword Shield run in the marathon. On Saturday morning my time, I think it's like Saturday midday in Europe, there is a Pokemon Sword and Shield trade alt main bid war. So what a trade alt main is basically you can, as soon as you have access to trade, we trade in a Pokemon that is pre-prepared. Because not every Pokemon is available in an opportune time to do speedruns. So for example, somebody has Cramorant as a trade alt main because you can't get Cramorant early enough to do like a real speedrun of it. So we have a whole bunch of people who have come together and created a nice giant bid war for that. So if you guys want to throw your money towards something and you like Pokemon speedruns, I would definitely recommend that. I do have a run slated for that. However, I would actually like to see specifically the Yamper one. Should be a really fun run. So that's my plug for that. I did want to mention the bid war though, because it's in a couple days, but it should be really fun.
We have just coming in a $100 donation by Dr. Dave 51 and Eddakit's mom, saying, "Way to go, Eddakit." This donation puts us over the current target of $23,000. So thank you very, very much for that.
Thanks, Dad and Mom. Mom's asleep, so thank you, Dad. All right. So now that we have our Kubfu... Oh, Kubfu's not a high enough friendship, so we actually have to play with him in Pokemon Camp. This is embarrassing. This happens sometimes. It's fine. So wait, take out toy. Here we go. Come here. Come here. Come here. Please. Love me. Love me. Love me. Come on. Awkward. There he goes. He loves me. While I'm here, I'm actually going to go ahead and teach a move. We picked up another TR while we were in the Pot Bottom Desert. This is the move Reversal. Reversal is sort of like remember how I explained the ability Torrent, where it's higher power if you're lower HP? Reversal is basically that, but in move form. There are different like power brackets. So if you have 10% health remaining, for example, then Reversal has 150 base power. If you have 20, remaining, then it's 100 base power. There's a bunch of different brackets. So that's one of the ways we're going to be dealing a lot of damage. If we have 1 HP remaining, it's going to have 200 base power, which is pretty crazy. Want a can. I'll do it after. I can do it at any point. Fine. Not having enough friendship has never happened to me before until like yesterday. I was doing a practice run and it happened. What's really awkward, and it hasn't happened to me, but it has happened to other people, is you lose friendship by dying. So there's a chance that you have enough friendship, because if you actually read the text that the sightseeing people say, they'll tell you if you have high enough friendship. I wasn't reading it. I wasn't paying attention because it doesn't really matter. You can just play with them in camp. But there's a chance that the guy says, you're friendly enough with Cubfu, and then you die to the Rhyperior, and then you're no longer friendly enough with Cubfu. All right. So, final stretch. All that's left now is we are going to ascend the tower. So the tower is going to have 5 fights in it, including the one at the top. And you are only allowed to have Cubfu. I can't have any other Pokemon even in my party. If I have another Pokemon in my party, the guy says, tough luck, come back when you only have Cubfu. So we have to take it on with only Cubfu. We can use items, so it doesn't restrict us in that regard. But we don't have any backups. So if like our Cubfu dies, then the fight's over and we have to do it again, kind of thing. There's no way to cheese it and revive and stuff like that. So because this is such a long trek from the place that I go if I die, I'm going to save. The first fight here isn't very dangerous. It's just if I die to like the second fight unexpectedly, I don't want to have to run all the way back. And since I know people are probably mentioning it, you can you can release your Cubfu, and they'll let you into the tower with any Pokemon. However, that's a bad ending. We don't want bad ending. We want good ending. All right, so this is the Tower of Darkness. Dark is weak to fighting. We know our type effectiveness thanks to our first rival, Hop. So our fighting type moves, like Rock Smash, are going to deal a lot of damage. And their dark type moves are not going to be very effective on us. Should have checked my stats. That's fine. I think I had mediocre defense. So this one's Scraggy. Scraggy is a dark type fighting type Pokemon. Again, doesn't deal that much damage to us. But what we're going to do is we're going to try to set up on this fight to make the next fight easy. Because the next fight is against an NK, which is Malamar, who's the one that we Death Warped against. That Pokemon's base evolution. That did like almost half. Fine. So, because it's fighting type and psychic type, it's neutral damage to, or it takes neutral damage from fighting type moves. So we want to do the most damage possible, and that is going to be a maximum power reversal. You may have noticed that in addition to reversal, I have this move called Endure. The way that Endure works is if I was going to be KO'd that turn, it'll make me live at 1 HP instead. However, it does have diminishing returns. If I use it 2 times in a row, it becomes less likely. It's like the move Protect. You can't use Protect more than once in a row without it getting really bad in odds. Endure is the same way. However, I can go into this fight at really low health, use Endure. It tries to KO me with Night Slash. I live on 1 HP, even through a critical hit. And then I hit him with a reversal. And he lived. Oh my god. Well, look at me. Talking smack. That is a fairly good range, so I'm surprised I missed it. I will save before the NK this time. I have to do the first 2 fights again. It's not that big of a deal. As we saw the first time, pretty easy fights.
Then do we have time for a quick message?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wonderful. So let me remind everyone that all donation revenue from ESA Summer Online will go towards Alzheimerfonden, the Swedish Alzheimer's Foundation. Alzheimerfonden enables training for caregivers on the subject of dementia. They also organize projects, camps, and events for youngsters affected in different ways due to parents or other relatives diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's has no current cure, but treatments for symptoms are available and research continues. Although current treatments cannot stop Alzheimer's from progressing, they can temporarily slow the worsening of dementia symptoms and improve quality of life for those with Alzheimer's and their caregivers. So your money will go to a really, really worthy cause. So please keep donating to give Alzheimerfonden as much money as possible to further research and to train caregivers and help all those Alzheimer patients have as good a life as possible. Thank you very much.
All right, so take 2, Scraggy, dark type, fighting type Pokemon. You guys haven't heard me say that before. Gonna set up for the next fight. Next fight I'm apparently bad at, so. No, so in Pokemon, when damage calculations are done, there's a range of values. Basically, you do between 85% and 100% damage based on the damage calculation, and there's 16 different values. So I don't know exactly what that range was, but it's probably pretty decent because I have a very similar Cubfu to one I had in practice, and I didn't miss the range at all. So, yeah, I'll just save in front of the NK. That's fine. This time I am going in at 1 HP, so I don't even have to endure on turn 1. I can just go straight for that reversal. Yeah, see? Hit it that time. Fine. Alright, so 2 more fights. I'm actually going to... I almost closed the game for some. I'm going to go ahead and use a rare candy and save this fight. So I'm actually going to potion a couple times. So this fight isn't too bad. The last fight's actually worse than this one. Like, the fight I just did is worse than this one. However, the main reason this one's tricky is because the Krokorok that we're facing is a higher level than... Or not higher level. It is faster than we are. So... it's going to always go first. We could go in at, like, minimum HP and just reversal and KO him. But he would just go first and KO us instead. So we're going to do this. And while I'm doing this fight, he's going to probably protect on turn 1 because that's what he likes to do. Oh, he didn't. Cool. I'm going to start explaining the final fight because there's a lot of stuff that happens in the final fight. And it's only like a 3-turn fight. But I want to explain it because it's very cool. And it's a very interesting strategy. So the final fight is against a level 30 Cubfu. We have to fight Mustard for who's the Cubfu master, right? So it's level 30. It has the move Aerial Ace, which is a 60 power flying type move, which will destroy us. Okay? The other thing worth noting is Mustard's Cubfu has a focus sash, meaning... if it's at full HP, it can't be knocked out in 1 hit. It will live at 1 HP, much like Endure does, but it only works if it's at full HP. So we need to have some way of damaging it more than once. And also survive attacks and also be able to actually damage him. Insert this fight. So what we're going to do on turn one, we're going to use one of those max mushrooms. A max mushroom is going to boost our attack, defense, special defense, and speed. It's going to give us enough defense to survive the aerial ace. It'll give us enough speed to outspeed the Kubfu, the opponent Kubfu. And, like, that's all well and good. We equipped a Rocky Helmet. Rocky Helmet is an item that when we get hit by a contact move, the opponent takes 1/6 of its health in recoil damage. So he's going to start damaging himself by attacking us. That's going to break his Focus Sash and get him down to 2/3 health after we use Endure on turn 2. And being at +1 attack, which we get after the Max Mushroom, Reversal now has enough power to KO him. So it's like everything just lines up perfectly for us. There is a chance, it's a very small chance, but there is a chance that he uses Focus Energy on this turn. And if he does that, he didn't. That's good. If he does that, you're kind of like just hoping for the best. But yeah, he damages himself just enough that we can pick up the KO. A really cool fight. We take it like 10 levels lower. And he has maximum stats. He's an adamant nature, meaning he's plus attack. And that's it. So yeah, that's the speed run. So there's a little bit more of the timing. Time hasn't stopped yet. We're going to do a little bit of a cutscene, evolve our Urshifu, then a little bit more cutscene, and then the time ends on the fade out after that. Yeah, that's that final fight is one that I'm really proud of. That was something that originally, so when you do this at a higher level, this Kubfu is actually level 70, and you still have a level 10 Kubfu that you're trying to level up. So there are some interesting ways to cheese that as well, but cheesing it this way to me is just cool. The old way was like get yourself aerial ace and then make it so you can survive 2 aerial aces and then you can KO him in 2 and the whole thing, but being able to do that at 10 levels lower is really nice. All right. Verse Wanye. All right, so like I said, time is going to be on the next fade out after the little bit of dialogue here. Yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed the run. It was a lot of fun. Thank you to ESA for having me. Thank you, everybody. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. And time. Very cool.
GG Eddaket.
Real quick before I sign off, like I said, I want to thank ESA for having me, and for having a bunch of Pokemon runs in the marathon. It's really cool to see. We had Pokemon Black right before this. Puzzle League is up next. There's randomizers. There's trade alt main stuff that I mentioned. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So definitely a good Pokemon representation. If you want to learn more about Pokemon speedrunning, either this run in particular or any other Pokemon game, definitely don't hesitate to join the Pokemon speedrunning Discord. You can find a link to the Discord on any of the Pokemon games on speedrun.com. Go ahead and join. There's a channel for like every game, so you can learn about the games. You can talk about different strategies and stuff like that. Really cool community. Very, very helpful for newcomers. And if you want to learn this route specifically, there is a document that details how to do it in Shield. There isn't one for Sword, which is the run I just did, but I plan on having a document on speedrun.com by this weekend. Look forward to that. And other than that, I think I'm good. Yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for this really entertaining run, Etiquette. Before we go into our intermission, please let me remind you that you can still choose which Pokemon cry you want to hear all the time during Pokemon Puzzle League. We have currently in the lead Bulbasaur with $79. Squirtle is in second place with $15, and I still can't find that third choice. I'm sorry, Charmander. I guess it must be if the other two are Bulbasaur and Squirtle. So you still have a few minutes to snipe those if you want another cry than Bulbasaur to hear. So see you in a bit with Pokemon Puzzle League.